My aunt left me her house, her savings, and one folder on her laptop labeled "Do Not Watch." I watched it anyway. That was 6 days ago. Tonight, the folder has one more file in it than it did this morning. And I never added it. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that 3 weeks ago, my Aunt Farida died alone in a house on the edge of town, and I was the only family she had left to leave it to. She'd been a strange woman, not unkind, just private. She installed cameras in every room of that house 15 years ago, back when nobody did that. Said it was for security. I always thought it was something else, something closer to fear. When the lawyer handed me her laptop along with the keys, there was a folder on the desktop, one file inside, a video link. The file was named simply watch_it_before_they_do.mp4. I opened it in the parking lot before I'd even seen the house. It wasn't a video. It was a live stream, still running, time-stamped in real time, feeding from a camera inside a house I hadn't stepped into yet. The stream showed an empty hallway, my aunt's hallway. I recognized the wallpaper from old photos. The timestamp in the corner matched my phone's clock exactly. Live, right now. Then, at the far end of the hallway, a door I would later learn didn't exist swung open by itself. I closed the laptop. I told myself it was a glitch, a looped recording, anything but what it looked like. I drove to the house anyway. I needed to see that hallway for myself. The house matched the stream exactly, except for one thing. The hallway on my screen had 4 doors. The real hallway only had 3. I stood in that hallway for a long time, counting the doors with my finger like a child, as if counting again would make a 4th one appear. It didn't. Not yet. I told myself old houses get renovated, doors get sealed, walls get moved. I told myself a lot of things that first night, and none of them let me sleep. The stream kept running. I left it open on the laptop propped on the kitchen counter, mostly because I was too unsettled to close it, and somehow more unsettled by the idea of not watching. On the second night, I noticed the footage was never quite in sync with real time. If I walked into the kitchen, the version of me on screen entered 2 or 3 seconds before I actually did. I tested it. I stood in the doorway and waited. The me on screen walked in first. Then I followed, like I was chasing my own reflection into a room I hadn't entered yet. Here's the first thing that changed everything. The camera the footage was streaming from didn't exist. My aunt's system had 4 cameras. I found the receipts, the installation records, the exact make and model. 4 cameras, 4 feeds. The stream on the laptop was a 5th. I searched the entire house for a camera that could produce that angle. There wasn't one. I searched the property records for a hallway with 4 doors. There wasn't one of those either. Not officially. Not according to any blueprint filed with the city. But the house on the screen believed it had one. And every night, it looked a little more finished. I called an electrician. I called a guy who specialized in old security systems. Both of them looked at the panel. Both of them told me the same thing. There were 4 cameras wired into that system. And the 5th feed I kept describing simply wasn't connected to anything in this house. Could be a neighbor's camera bleeding into your signal, the second guy said, not really believing it himself. I wanted to believe him. I really did. Until that night, when the stream showed the hallway again. And this time, the 4th door was open. and through it I could see my own kitchen. From an angle no camera in my kitchen could produce. I started digging into my aunt's history, because by then I'd stopped pretending this was a technical problem and started treating it like a message. She'd lived in this house for 31 years. Before that, she'd lived in an apartment 2 towns over. The one she left in a hurry, according to my mother, without ever explaining why. My mother never liked to talk about her sister. Whenever I asked, she'd change the subject the way people do when the subject frightens them more than they want to admit. I found one old letter in my aunt's desk, half finished, dated 11 years ago. It read, "I think it's learned the house better than I have. I think it's waiting for the day it doesn't need to copy anymore." She never finished the sentence after that. I want to be clear about the timeline because it matters. The letter was dated 11 years ago. The camera system was installed 15 years ago, which means for 4 years, my aunt lived in this house with no stream, no fifth feed, nothing watching her but her own 4 cameras. And something changed. Something started watching back. I went through 15 years of my aunt's diary entries. She kept them in a locked drawer, and I broke the lock the 3rd night. Because by then, sleep wasn't something I was doing anyway. The entries got shorter every year, not because she had less to say, because in her words, "It listens better when I write less." By the 4th night, the stream had stopped showing the hallway. It was showing my bedroom, my real bedroom, the one I was standing in, laptop balanced on my knees, watching myself watch myself. Except the me on screen wasn't holding a laptop. The me on screen was sitting very still, staring directly at the real camera, the one that, again, didn't exist, with an expression I have never once made in my life. Calm, almost patient, like it was waiting for me to notice. I did notice. And the second I did, the version of me on screen smiled. I have never smiled like that. I checked in the mirror to be sure. I don't have that many teeth. I did what anyone would do. I packed a bag. I left the laptop open. I didn't want to touch it, didn't want to close a window on something that might be watching me close it. And I drove to a motel 40 minutes away. I thought distance would fix it. I was wrong in a way I didn't understand until the next morning, when I woke up to a text from an unknown number. It was a single photo. My motel room, taken from an angle inside the room. A corner where there was no camera, no vent, nothing but wall. In the photo, I was asleep in the bed, which I was, at the exact moment the photo was taken, which I confirmed because the text arrived at 3:14 a.m., and I checked my phone at 3:14 a.m. from that same bed, and there was nothing there yet. I drove back to the house the next day because staying away clearly wasn't protection. It was just delay. And delay, I was starting to understand, only made the thing on the other side of that screen more patient, more thorough. I opened the laptop with my hands shaking so badly I had to set it on the floor. The stream had changed. It wasn't showing a room anymore. It was showing a mirror image of the room I was standing in, live, in real time, matched to the second. Except in the reflection, the 4th door was closed again. I understood then, too late, what my aunt's unfinished letter meant. It wasn't learning the house so it could copy it forever. It was learning the house so it could finish building the one piece that was missing. And the missing piece wasn't a door. It was a person who belonged behind it. I stopped sleeping in the house after that. I slept in my car in the driveway, doors locked, phone flashlight aimed at the front windows all night. watching for a light that shouldn't turn on and did anyway. The kitchen, every night, exactly at 3:14. I called my mother. I asked her finally why my aunt left that apartment 15 years ago in such a hurry. There was a long silence before she answered. Long enough that I knew the answer would be worse than anything I'd imagined. She said something had learned to look like her. My mother said. She said the only way to be safe was to make sure it never finished learning. Finished learning what? My mother didn't answer that. She just said very quietly, "Don't watch the feed anymore, whatever you do." I had already watched it 40, 50 times by then. I went back into the house one final time to grab the laptop, planning to destroy it, throw it in the river, anything to stop the feed. I told myself that would be enough. I found it on the kitchen counter exactly where I'd left it, screen glowing, already open to the stream. The hallway, 4 doors all closed, and standing at the very end of it, facing away from the camera, was a figure in my clothes. The exact clothes I was wearing right then. I said my own name out loud just to hear something real. On the screen, the figure's shoulders tensed like it had heard me. Then, slowly, unnaturally slowly, it began to turn around. I didn't stay to see the face. I grabbed the laptop and I ran. I threw the laptop into the river that same night. I stood on the bridge and watched it sink. And for 1 hour, I believed it was over. Then my phone buzzed. A new email, no subject line, sent from my own email address. An address only I have the password to. One attachment, a video file. I shouldn't have opened it. I know that now. But some part of me needed to see how it ended. The same part of me that opened the very first file 6 days ago in a parking lot. Before any of this had a name. The video was 11 seconds long. It showed the hallway, all 4 doors closed, the timestamp ticking forward in real time, matched once again, exactly to the second on my phone. Then, one by one, all 4 doors opened at once, and behind each one stood the same figure, wearing my clothes, all 4 of them turning toward the camera at the exact same instant. All 4 of them smiling that smile I don't have enough teeth for. The video ended there. No sound, no explanation. That was 3 nights ago. I've moved back into my old apartment. I don't own a laptop anymore. I've disabled every camera on every device in my home, unplugged the smart TV, taped over my phone's camera the way paranoid people do in movies I used to laugh at. But last night, my neighbor knocked on my door to tell me my porch light had been left on since 3:14 a.m. I don't have a porch light. And this morning, I found a folder on my phone that I never created, containing one video file I never downloaded. The file name is the same as the one my aunt left me. Word for word. Watch underscore it. Underscore. Before underscore. They underscore do. .mp4, I haven't opened it yet. I'm not sure if that's because I'm afraid of what's on it, or because some part of me is afraid it already knows what I'll look like once I do.